Today, we're holding our second hearing on the crisis of gun violence in America. 7 weeks ago, this committee heard heartbreaking testimony from witnesses whose lives were forever changed by gun violence, including Mia Cerrillo, a fourth grader who survived the massacre in Uvalde by smearing herself with blood so that they did not recognize her. Gun violence is now the top killer of children in the United States, causing more deaths in children than car accidents. In 2020, more than 45,000 people were killed by gun violence, the highest number ever recorded in our country. And since our first hearing, the evil of gun violence has continued to shatter our communities. On the 4th of July, a gunman rained down bullets on families at a parade in Highland Park, Illinois. He killed 7 people and injured dozens more. That shooter, like the killers in Uvalde, Buffalo, Las Vegas, Parkland, and Newtown, used an AR-15 style rifle. This is an ultra-deadly weapon engineered to kill enemy soldiers on the battlefield. Yet the gun industry has flooded our neighborhoods, our schools, and even our churches and synagogues with these deadly weapons, and has gotten rich doing it. That is why I launched an investigation into the gun industry. This morning, I released a memo with our initial findings, and what we found is appalling. Our investigation shows that 5 major gun manufacturers collected a total of more than $1 billion from the sale of assault rifles over the last decade. One company, Ruger, made over $100 million through the sale of AR-15 style rifles in 2021, and more than doubling what it made the year before. Another company, Daniel Defense, tripled its revenue from these rifles from 2019 to 2021. And Smith & Wesson brought in over $125 million from the sale of assault weapons in 2021. Our investigation also found that gun manufacturers use dangerous marketing tactics to sell assault weapons to the public. That includes marketing to children, preying on young men's insecurities, and even appealing to violent white supremacists. Finally, we found that even as guns kill more Americans than ever, none of those companies take even basic steps to monitor the deaths and injuries caused by their products. This is beyond irresponsible. At the end of our last hearing, I vowed that this committee would hold a second hearing so the committee and the American people can hear directly from the gun industry about why they continue to sell the weapons of choice to mass murderers. Today, we will hear from CEOs of 2 gun manufacturers who sold assault rifles used by mass shooters, Daniel Defense and Ruger. Daniel Defense sold the assault weapon that was used in Uvalde to murder 19 children and 2 teachers and to wound 18 others. And Ruger is the largest rifle manufacturer in the U.S. Their assault weapon was used to murder more than 24 people at a church in Sutherland Springs, Texas. We also invited Mark Smith, the CEO of Smith & Wesson. His company is the 2nd leading rifle manufacturer in the country and is responsible for the weapons used by mass murderers in Highland Park, in Parkland, and in other mass shootings. Mr. Smith promised he would testify, but then he went back on his word, perhaps because he did not want to take responsibility for the death and destruction his company has caused. But the time for dodging accountability is over. Today, I'm announcing my intent to issue a subpoena for documents from Smith & Wesson's CEO and other top executives so that we can finally get answers about why this company is selling assault weapons to mass murderers, answers we were hoping to get at today's hearing. After we announced this hearing, the committee heard from victims, family members, and survivors of gun violence from across our country who wanted to share their stories and their questions for the gun industry. I'd like to play their video now. Let's please play the video.
Hi, my name is Nicole, and nearly 10 years ago, I survived the Sandy Hook shooting in my elementary school when I was just 7 years old. Still to this day, I struggle through the horrible aftermath and PTSD.
Our family was at the parade when I saw the shooter emerge above a second-floor roofline and point his long gun at my family and those around us and rapidly fire. I threw my wife and son behind a metal park bench to save our lives. After the shooting stopped, I saw the father of Cooper Roberts stand and scream for help, while my wife saw their son Cooper convulsing on the ground, shot through the abdomen and spine.
As we ran, clutching hands, not knowing if someone was going to shoot us and if we were going to live or die, my son lost a huge part of his innocence. He is not the same person. He is broken. And every day, my husband and I are heartbroken as we try to help him get back to the carefree, sweet little boy he was before this happened.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Custodis. I'm 17, and I lost my little sister Jackie at the Robb Elementary shooting in Uvalde, Texas. This picture was taken on her first communion on May 10th. 16 days later, she was shot and killed using a Daniel Defense AR-15.
Hello, my name is Ana Rodriguez. I lost my daughter, Maite Juliana Rodriguez, on May 24, 2022 at the Robb school shooting. Maite was a sweet 10-year-old girl who dreamed of attending Texas A&M University in Corpus Christi to pursue a career in marine biology. Maite was robbed of her future due to gun violence.
My fiance was shot and killed on May 14th by a white supremacist mass shooter when he went into Tops to buy our son a birthday cake. The shooter killed my fiance with a Bushmaster X-15 rifle. He also had with him a 12-gauge shotgun, a bolt-action rifle, full body armor, and a car full of ammunition.
My name is Fred Guttenberg. I am the father of Jesse and Jamie Guttenberg. On February 14, 2018, I sent my 2 children to school to learn safely. Towards the end of that day, a gunman showed up at my daughter's school, killing 17. My daughter was one of the 17 killed.
These people.
I want to know, what are you doing to stop these shootings?
Do you know how many children have been exposed to gun violence in schools since Columbine?
What are you going to do
It's okay.
to make sure that your products don't get into the hands of a white supremacist mass shooter ever again, who will take a child's father away?
It's okay.
These people are demanding answers and accountability from the gun industry, and I intend to get both today. Following today's hearing, House Democrats will continue to take bold action to stop the bloodshed. Later this week, we hope to vote on the first assault weapon ban in nearly 30 years. The House is also planning to take action to end the outrageous legal immunity that has protected the gun industry from lawsuits for far too long. And in the coming weeks, I intend to introduce additional legislation to hold the gun industry accountable for the damage inflicted by their products, just like the car industry, the pharmaceutical industry, or any other American business. Let me close by addressing my Republican colleagues. I know that you value the rights guaranteed by the Second Amendment, and so do I. But even Justice Scalia recognized that, quote, the right secured by the Second Amendment is not unlimited, end quote. Even as we protect this right, we cannot ignore our fundamental obligation to protect the public, especially our children. I hope all of my colleagues will join me in finally taking action to end this crisis. I now